My brothers and sisters, at the moment, I can count about 9 things that we as Muslims can do. You might not agree with all of them. Maybe some of them work, maybe some of them don't. Maybe some of them are better than others. Some of them are mixed with maybe it's allowed, maybe not allowed, maybe permissible, maybe not permissible. But these are the 9 things that we, inshallah, can make our intention for the sake of Allah and do them while we are living here in Australia and are safe, alhamdulillah. Number 1, this is an opportunity for the heart to be renewed. Our faith is being renewed whether we like it or not. We can't help it. We switch off social media, our hearts are still pumping, thinking. And some people I know, they're going through some mental distress. Today a brother asked me, my wife is going through mental distress and anxiety and she can't cope. I said to him, it's okay brother, switch off social media. She doesn't have to look at everything. You don't have to look at the atrocities to make yourself feel better about yourself. They're doing something good, brothers and sisters. Sometimes you have to still save your mental state. And I know some people will say, oh, they're all dying and you're worried about your mental state. No, don't believe those statements. Al-mu'min al-qawi khayru min al-mu'min al-da'if. Rasulullah told us a strong believer is more beneficial than a weak believer. You don't want to destroy yourselves. There is still future coming. There's still generations coming. We've still got our children. The heart. Number 2, the identity. It's a time to renew our identity. At school at the moment, we got children to write letters. We told them, write letters to the children of Gaza. And I said, I'm going to try my best to send them through a charity organization to get them to those kids and take photos. Allahu A'lam, 90% chance I'm not going to be able to. But what are we doing? We're letting this young generation know their identity, know their culture, know who they are, know that they are connected to all their brothers and sisters around the world. This is called an ummah. And nobody can beat an ummah that is together, brothers and sisters. Nobody. This new generation, our children, are the next ones, inshallah. And we need to plant into them their identity once again. Who are they? Number 3, dua. A lot of people are making dua with the wrong intention. They're saying, oh, we're making dua but nothing's changing. Who told you that dua is only about things changing? Dua is worship. Dua is connection with Allah. Dua is renewing your faith and your connection as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what should change and what shouldn't. But when you make dua, you are connecting yourself individually to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remembering who you are, remembering why you're here. Someone said, what's 2 billion dua is going to do? 2 billion dua is 2 billion people reconnecting what they lost with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the future will look better with that because the inner self has to be renewed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change the state of a people until they change the state that is within themselves. أنفسهم means your inner self and your inner communities. There are still hypocrites among the communities. There are still people who are in power that don't care. If Allah were to give these people right now the victory, perhaps the next day we'll be killing each other. Maybe we're not ready, brothers and sisters. Allah will not entrust the people with an authority and power if He knows they will corrupt it, if the situation will be worse. Sometimes Allah will not give you exactly what you want because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what kind of people will take control. We don't know how the ummah will be if Allah were to give us power now in the way that we want it. Allah knows. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give nasr and victory, but in the right way. Not in the way that we want, not in the current state that we are in. Allah will not give it to a people who are not ready to exercise it. On an individual level, maybe there's many, alhamdulillah, and there will always be. But there needs to be a collective reformation. A collective reformation. You can only do your little part. Number 5, sharing what is happening there. If you are able to share statements on what is happening there, share them. I believe that it is creating a larger awareness, and that's the result of why the world is seeing what they're seeing and the shift is happening. Number 6, education. Talk to your knowledgeable intellectuals at your school. You see a Muslim intellectual who knows a lot about history and politics, ask them. Say, sir, miss, can you teach me a little bit? If you're at university, ask an intellectual who knows about history and politics and how the world works. Educate yourselves. Sometimes we do at school what we call interfaith dialogues. I know the word interfaith to some people means something else, but what we do it is we talk to them about Islam, they talk to us about their religion, we ask questions, and we engage in teaching them, and we learn about their ways. Alhamdulillah, our students always come out of it learning and appreciating their deen even more. Sometimes we had Jewish schools which we used to meet together at our school, and we realized that in their schools, from grade prep all the way to year 12, they teach them the most strongest curriculum about Jewish history. Everything about Palestine and Israel, everything about the history of the Jews and the Israelites and so on and so forth. And so their identity or whatever they've taught them is enshrined in them. So we need education. Number 7, some people ask me, what about boycotting? I say to you, brothers and sisters, boycotting, for those who study finance, boycotting works, but it has to be on a major level. If you want to ask me materialistically, I'll give you the answer, but then I'm going to tell you boycotting individually. Boycotting on a large scale works. How? When a government says all the shops and products in our country will now be closed. They don't allow them. On that level, boycotting works. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So let's look at the individual. No one has the right to tell everybody, it's haram to eat this or that. But what I can tell you is this. I'm not a mufti. I can't impose this on you. But me personally, I feel sick to my stomach if I buy or eat any product that is helping the economy currently of the Israeli army against the innocents in Gaza. I feel sick to my stomach. And I believe everyone should feel sick that way as well. Maybe it may affect, may not. I don't believe all the social media statistics that people send around. I don't like disinformation, and I don't follow things that I cannot confirm. However, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at least I can say, Ya Rabb, I did something within my little power. Allah doesn't look at the outcome. He's looking at the process. What do you do with it? The outcome is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So long as there are alternatives, until there's no alternatives, I'll tell you buy, that's okay. But we have alternatives, alhamdulillah. We have alternatives. So long as you have alternatives and you're eating and you're drinking, alhamdulillah, you don't need that other product. So just as an individual with you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 8, people ask me about protests and rallies. Normally, I don't like protests, and I've stopped protests since 2001, since September 11. We've done many protests before for Palestine, all that, and I've given up on them. I don't like them. I don't see them being any benefit. In fact, the haram is more than the good. However, what I've seen now, just in this case, there has been some benefit in rallies and protests, and I understand there's some haram in there with the free mixing and I don't know what. Last week, we did a khutbah in the Flagstaff Gardens, alhamdulillah. I was the khatib then. It was about 5,000 or so people. And I saw the article in The Age, alhamdulillah. Wallahi, I found it such an effective gathering because I called it the stormy silence. See all the shouting and the screaming that people do when they walk in the streets? Just that gathering together, silently doing salat and listening to the khutbah and seeing how we're all gathered in silence was extremely stormy. And a lot of non-Muslims came around and they listened. And they could able to listen and hear through the stormy silence. These types, I think, work better. And Allah knows best. And lastly, writing to MPs and ministers. A lot of people I heard say, why should you write to the kuffar? See this mentality, brothers and sisters? I don't agree with it. Rather, I say to you, don't take, you've got to understand the Quran properly. And you've got to look at the reality around you and start to become creative and innovative in your mind, O Muslims. Stop this narrow-mindedness. When Rasul ﷺ went into battle and the kuffar wanted to come in to help him, he said, we don't need you, because they were already organized, they were innovative, they were creative, they had planned. Rasul ﷺ got even some of the Sahabas to go and learn the languages of some of the enemies, like the Persian language, education. They were taking ideas from the disbelievers that they lived amongst. They were taking ideas from the Persians. And today here in Australia, if we can make a small shift by lobbying our government and writing to the ministers and the MPs, maybe that small shift can happen. Something that benefits the Muslims, and so we can say to Allah, Ya Rabb, we use what we can in power. Whatever we can. We're not saying the kuffar are going to change everything. We don't know what their hearts are like. But why not use all the resources that Allah gave us? In fact, the Rasul ﷺ did say towards the end of time, تُصَالِحُونَ الرُّومِ. The hadith is in Sahih Muslim. You will have a peaceful pact, an allegiance, together with the Romans. In those days, Rasul ﷺ called them Romans. Today, Allahu A'lam with the Romans are, but they are the descendants. You can say the Europeans, probably the British, maybe the Americans, maybe Australia, maybe, all those types of people who their origins were from what used to be called the Byzantines or the Romans. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you will have a peaceful pact with them together to fight a common enemy of yours. The hadith is in Sahih Muslim. It hasn't happened yet, but that's towards the end of time, before the Mahdi comes out. Before the Mahdi comes out, as what the scholars said. And before Isa alayhi salam, and before the Dajjal. We all know who I'm talking about, we're Muslims. That you will have a pact with them. So brothers and sisters, using that to our advantage is good. Let's not restrict our minds and think outside of the box for a change. We need to be creative and read more.